Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and talk about things that are going on to better explain what's going on and talk about things that I think that are being done right and are done wrong. So here we go with another video from Phoenix, Arizona. The criminals down there in Phoenix, Arizona, they're a different breed. They're on one. It seems like whenever I get on here to do these Monday quarterback videos on all these other agencies out there, it's like every time I get on the computer, there's a notification from Phoenix Police channel. And it's like, what the hell is going on down there with their criminals down there? Like, what is in the water that these dudes are drinking? Like, how messed up is the system down there where the criminals are just this damn brazen, where they just do what they do? Which, granted, I know there's, the population and everything has a factor in it and all that. But there's also, other things like how the criminal justice system down there works outside of the police. Because the police can do a very good job catching people, but it's really up to the courts and the prisons on whether or not they keep those prisoners. So I don't know anything about Phoenix, never been there. But if you happen to know the criminal justice landscape down there and how the courts are, how the prosecutors are, if they're fucking lenient, they let people go on everything, they get minimal amount of time, whatever, I would really like some insight information, because I think there's something to learn from the overall picture. Because there's other places out there that have a high population, but you just don't see the police out there getting involved in that many officer-involved shootings. And there's nothing wrong that I see from the Phoenix police. There's nothing that comes to mind right off the top of my head that there's anything egregious that they've ever done. Probably my biggest complaint, which is with many other agencies out there, is they, in the past, on some videos I've done with them, they little stuff like they didn't get a rifle out when they should have. But as far as tactics and stuff like that, like, I can't think of anything that's over the top with them. They seem to be very well trained. So I don't think it's a police problem or anything like that. It's something's different about the criminals there. And if you're from Phoenix, I would like your take on it. I would like to see what your opinion is on why there seems to be more officer-involved shootings there than there is in other places with similar populations. All right, moving on.
Hello, I'm Sergeant Rob Shear with the Phoenix Police Department's Public Affairs Bureau. The information, audio, video, and pictures you are about to see are intended to provide details, as we currently understand them, of an officer-involved shooting that occurred on January 3rd, 2023. This video may contain strong language as well as graphic images, which could be disturbing to some people. Viewer discretion is advised. The incident occurred in the area of 35th Avenue and Broadway Road, when Phoenix police received a call about a man trying to enter a residential backyard. The caller described the man on top of his backyard fence, who became angry when the caller confronted him. Here is a portion of the 911 call. A Spanish interpreter service was used to translate the information.
Can you ask where the emergency is?
Yes, ma'am. Señor, ¿cuál es la emergencia, por favor?
Sí, lo que pasa es que estoy por el callejón, está uno que viene de la calle que se está queriendo meter por mi casa en la barda.
Yes, ma'am. There is a person that is trying to get into my house.
Okay, how are they trying to get into your house?
¿Cómo es que están intentando meterse a su casa?
Queriendo brincar por el callejón, por la barda. Tienen unas llantas que se asoma por adentro. Y ahorita salí alegándole, reclamando, y todavía se está molestando.
Yes, they are trying to get in here in the alley. They are trying to get up the place that I have, and they put some tires, and they are trying to jump in. And when I talk to them, they even get angry at me.
So they're trying to jump into your yard from the alley?
Multiple officers were dispatched to the scene. After
The alley?
So, if you've never used an interpreter line before, it's a little bit different. So, at the very beginning, when she said, "Can you ask them?" Some of these interpreters, I've had a couple of them respond to me in a way that it's like they were annoyed that you would ask like that, and they will articulate and be very forward with that you just need to talk like you're talking to them. And so you would just ask, so what is going on? Why are you calling? And then the translator will basically repeat everything you said to that person in their language. And then that person will respond, and then that translator will talk to you and repeat everything that person said on basically verbatim. Sure, that works, but sometimes it's just more efficient, and it just makes more sense to say, ask them where the person's at. Like, what is so wrong with saying that? There's been some people who didn't have a problem with it, but there's been a couple I've dealt with who were like, you need to talk like you're talking to the person. Don't ask me to ask them. Like, you just ask. I'm like, motherfucker. But anyway, these interpreter lines, these services they're pretty helpful, especially for languages that you can't even maybe begin to kind of piece together. Like, you might have some basic Spanish and can understand a little bit of what the person's saying and get a good feel for it, but there's other languages that you've never heard before, and you have absolutely no idea what the hell's being said. And so those services are really, really helpful when you're trying to figure out what's going on. Spanish is one of those languages, I think, that for some people, even though you can't speak it fluently, you may know some words, you can kind of piece together what's going on. And it would be easy for you to figure out what they're saying, because there's some words that are very similar to English. But then there's other languages, like Arabic, fucking word in Arabic that sounds anything like English. Not that I'm aware of. So they're very, very helpful services. I wish that with technology as good as it has gotten, I wish there was a company out there or someone that would create a software for like dispatching where you don't have to call in to some service provider to get the translation services. Like, it would be nice if when a person calls in, it goes through, of course, their servers and everything, and as they talk, well, it automatically translates what they're saying to the operator. And it does it through the headset and even puts it on the screen, and then the operator can respond to that. Like, that would be really cool. Now, there might be something like that exists, and it might be super expensive, and only like big places can afford it. But that ability has to exist. It's just, why hasn't someone packaged it and put it in reality? I mean, we've got Google Translate on the phones, right? Like, I've got Google Translator on my phone. It's an app. I can go straight to it and say what I need to say into it with English and have it translate it into whatever language I want it to be translated into. I mean, that's a pretty cool app. So, like, I brought it up right now. So I will go from English to German. I can either type it in or I can hit the microphone and I start talking into it. So I'll just read what's on the screen here. I'll hit the microphone. I'll read. So, are they trying to jump into your yard from the alley, and then translate it into German. So they are trying to jump in your yard from the alley. Oh, let me turn the sound on.
Also versuchen Sie, von der Gasse in deinen Garten zu springen.
Let me replay that.
Also versuchen Sie, von der Gasse in deinen Garten zu springen.
Now, I don't speak German, so I don't know if that's a good translation or not. But I was able to do that just from an app on the phone. So, like I said, why can't there be a product out there that is made for dispatch centers where when a person calls in, they can, on a, select, one for English, two for Spanish or whatever, they click Spanish and it automatically starts routing it through it. Or even if they don't click anything and they start talking into that line automatically detects a foreign language and starts automatically translating it.
Multiple officers were dispatched to the scene. After talking with the caller, the officers were directed to the alleyway behind the house. 3 officers found a man in the alley matching the description given. The man had a pair of scissors in his right hand. The officers ordered the man, in both English and Spanish, to drop the scissors. When the man did not respond to these commands, 2 officers deployed their tasers. The taser deployments had little effect. The man then advanced towards the officers with the scissors still in his hand. That is when the officer involved shooting occurred. The officer's body-worn cameras captured the interaction. Body-worn cameras are used by all officers assigned to and captured as fixed, both audio for the 30 or an officer video from one of the first officers who made contact with the caller.
¿Llamaste a la policía?
Sí, es que está uno atrás, está queriendo brincar uno que está ahí en el callejón.
¿En el alley?
Sí, en el callejón.
Ok, no está en tu yarda.
No, ya, o sea, ya tenía un pie, ya quería brincar.
Oh, he never made entry to the backyard. He's in the alley.
Y yo ahorita le dije que se fuera. Y se
Ok,
enojó,
so no está en la yarda, ¿verdad?
No, pues ya se fue para afuera, pero ahí está parado afuera.
Okay.
Allá afuera, y le dije que se fuera y no se quiere ir y ahí está.
Ok,
Pone ya.
pero nunca brincó en tu yarda y abrió la puerta, nada así.
Quería brincar, pero como hay gente atrás y lo miró y le dijeron que se bajara.
Okay. Yes, he was just he was on top of the bricks and then he told him to leave and then he jumped back down. So he never made entry.
Here is the body-worn camera video from the first officer to contact the man.
All right, so
On top of
it's hard to see what
Como
he
hay gente
has.
atrás y lo miró.
he was on top of the bricks and then he told him to leave and then he jumped back down. So he never made entry.
He either has an actual rifle or it's a less lethal device. I don't know what he has. But if it's a rifle, then great. I love the fact that he got a rifle out for this call where someone is trying to invade another person's domain. That would be a call that is a more high-risk type of call. And something like that, I think, a rifle should be brought out for. Someone trying to go over a barrier into someone's yard. Now, it's different if there was no barrier and someone was just walking through the yard, right? Like, that's not an uncommon thing. Like, sometimes people are lazy and they cut through people's yards or whatever, right? But to actually go over a barrier, to put that much fucking effort into it, that means you're doing something and going into some place that you're not welcome to. And so if you're putting that much effort into it, what else are you going to be doing? So that bumps it up to a higher risk call, and I think that would be perfectly appropriate for a rifle to be brought out on a call like that. Or he could also have a less lethal launcher right there. I'm not 100% sure. And even if he did have a less lethal launcher out, that's still acceptable in my opinion too, because you never know what you're going to be coming across with someone who's trying to actively go over a barrier into someone else's domain.
Here is the body-worn camera video from the first officer to contact the man in the alley.
How you doing, sir? What's going on? Huh? No, put those down? Put the scissors down? Scissors? No. The scissors, you gotta put them down. What's the matter? You gotta put the scissors down. Huh? Hey. No habla. The scissors. Put them down. What's that? Yeah, scissors. Just I don't speak Spanish. He speaks Spanish. Put the scissors down. Put the scissors down right now. Scissors down. If you step one forward, I will shoot you. Just one more. Put the scissors down. Put them down. Put the scissors down. Don't move. Don't move. Put the scissors down. Put the scissors down. Hey. One move forward. One step. One step. You will get shot. One step. One step. Drop the scissors. Drop the scissors.
Alright, hey Mike, hold on.
Alright, I'm on him. He dropped the scissors.
Here is the perspective from.
Alright, we'll see this again.
He speaks Spanish. He speaks Spanish.
Alright, so he's observed the fact the guy's got scissors in his hands, but there's a language barrier. That dude don't speak English, and the officer don't speak Spanish. I think it is good to know some simple commands of a common language that you may find in your area. So Spanish is going to be a very common language here in the States, especially in Arizona, being so close to the border. But even all the way up here in Kentucky, in my town, Spanish is a common language, aside from the dominant language of English. So I think it's important to know some simple commands. He could tell him to put his hands up in Spanish, manos arriba, something to be able to get some type of basic command out of them, or stop, alto, right? It would be nice if, people could devote their time to be able to learn other languages and stuff like that. Sometimes, you just don't have that ability to devote all that extra time into it. Some languages are more difficult than others. Spanish is one of those languages where some of the words are similar to some English words. And it's a language that you hear so often that it can be easier to learn some parts of Spanish. Trying to learn like Arabic, like that's going to be fucking difficult for a lot of people. Or some odd ass language that like Swahili. I mean, even though we have a bunch of Somalians who are coming to the States, it's still not at that level to where hearing people speaking Swahili is a common thing. I would think it would be more advantageous to devote time learning some Spanish than learning something like Swahili. But anyway, he can't talk to this guy. He can't even get a basic command out of this guy until the Spanish-speaking officer arrives.
Put the scissors down. Put the scissors down right now.
Now, when he did observe these scissors, I don't know if he got himself prepared in any way. Of course, we can't see him reach down to his holster and disengage the safeties on it or not. I don't know if he did that. I would hope that he did. When he was up there by himself and he observed those edged weapons, I would hope that he had reached down and got his hand on his gun and disengaged the safeties on it and be prepared to fight at that point. But now that this Spanish-speaking officer has arrived, I think that this guy should have just remained quiet and allow the Spanish-speaking officer to take over verbal commands. Because that's the only fucking person this dude's going to understand is that other officer who speaks Spanish. This dude ain't understand a damn thing this dude in English is talking about. He should understand the gun pointed at him, right? That's universal. I don't give a fuck what language you speak. You got a gun pointed at you. That means don't be fucking stupid and don't do shit to get shot. Everybody knows that fucking language right there. That's universal. But he should have just let the Spanish-speaking officer take over those verbal commands.
Scissors down. If you step one forward, I will shoot you. Just one more. Put the scissors down. I will shoot you.
I do like how this officer with a taser comes up and just points it directly at him. This guy, he does have his taser drawn, but he has it pointed down. This guy has weapons. It should be automatically pointed directly at him instead of being in a low-ready position.
Just one more. Put the scissors down. Put him
So he fires first.
down. Put the scissors down. Don't move. Don't move.
But we don't see NMI being achieved.
One forward. I will shoot.
He has what appears to be an undershirt on, this shirt, and then this jacket shirt on. So he's got multiple layers on.
Shoot you. Just one more. Put the scissors down. I will shoot you. Just one more. Put the scissors down. I will shoot you. Just one more. Put the scissors down.
All right, so it looks like a probe hits up in here. It looks like that's where the top probe hits at, right about in there where the cursor is circling at. I'll play it, and you can watch that area right there.
Forward. I will shoot you. Just one more. Put the scissors down.
Right.
I will shoot.
Now, the bottom probe appears to hit down in here. So I'll play it, and you can watch down in this area.
You. Just one more. Put the scissors down. Put them down. Just one more. Put the scissors down. Put them down. Put the scissors down.
So it's possible that because that shirt was hanging down and was loose, that the barb went into it but did not go into his clothing, or he had a belt on. It went through the shirt, but it hit the belt and did not penetrate through the belt. And so this is a clothing disconnect right here. I think that's probably what's going on. That's enough spread, in my opinion, to be able to achieve NMI. You saw the top probe hit up there, bottom probe hit down here. That's good enough for NMI. But I think there's a clothing disconnect there.
Don't move. Don't move. Put the scissors down. Put the scissors down. Hey. One move forward. One step.
Now, it's hard to tell for sure where the other probes are
hitting. One move forward. One step. Move. Put the scissors down. Put the scissors down.
So he gives him another cycle from that first probe hit. He just hits the side button, sends another cycle through. We can hear the loud cackling that tells us we don't have a good connection. A loud taser is a bad connection. A quiet taser is a good connection.
Hey.
He fires that second probe, but because of the distance now and the angles, it's hard to tell for sure where those probes hit.
Put the scissors down. Hey. One move forward. One step.
It looks potentially.
Put the scissors down. Hey.
It's so hard to tell, but it looks like it hits, the bottom one hits again right in that lower area.
Put the scissors down. Hey. One move forward. One step. One step. You will get shot. One step. One step. Get shot. One step.
So, even though there's multiple taser deployments going on in this guy, they're not achieving NMI. Taser's great and all, but when it comes to loose clothing, thick clothing, there are failures when it comes to that. Would it be nice if everyone wore like tight-fitting clothing, thin, tight-fitting clothing? Yeah, that'd be fucking awesome. Then you get great taser deployments on people. But people don't wear, fucking Star Trek uniforms all the time, right? Like, they're not form-fitting clothes. People wear jackets and, baggier clothes and stuff like that. So the barbs on the tasers, the darts, they can only be so long. you can't have them so long to where once they go into a person's skin that they go deep enough and start hitting vital areas. Like, they have to be short enough to where, one, they can stick into a person, go through clothing, and then stick into a person and then deliver the current, but not be long enough to where if they were wearing a skin-tight Star Trek uniform, that it wouldn't go so deep into their body that it would affect something, critical. So the probes just cannot be any longer than what they are. And when you have clothing like this guy's wearing, sometimes the person's clothing can defeat the darts. These two officers, they both had tasers. Both tasers are two-shot capable. I think it would have been good if one officer had taser and then the other officer had pepper spray. When one officer fires both cartridges out of their taser and they're both ineffective, then I think that would be the appropriate time to paint this guy's face with some pepper spray. But we don't see that happen. We see we see him expend both darts from his gun or his taser. Now, at this point, his taser is useless. He's done fired both probes or both cartridges, and they're ineffective. At this point, he should be either dropping his taser or reholstering it and going to something else. And I think for him, the most appropriate thing for him to do would be to holster the taser and go to his pepper spray and use it.
What's up? What's up?
Now, there's an officer in the background here. This officer is still continuing to come up. You can see the gun drawn. They fired. He had to have heard the tasers being discharged. I think for him, probably the safest thing for him to do is, it looks like there's an opening right here. The safest thing for him to have done would be to get in that opening right there and potentially take cover, because although that dude was only, there's an opening right here, it looks like, too. If there was an opening for him to be able to get into, I think it would be most advantageous for him to get in those openings, because as you see, this very quickly turned into a crossfire scenario.
What's up? You will get shot. What's up? What's up?
And he was completely downrange of that.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
So you see the officer in the background. He quickly realizes he's in a bad place, so he runs off to the side to try and get away from being in the crossfire, so to speak. As this guy was in a standing position, this officer could have missed, and a round could have missed him and went and hit that officer, or a round could have went completely through this guy, over-penetrated, and then went out and hit the officer. Nothing wrong with this officer who did the shooting. He had to act. He had to use deadly physical force on this guy, because he had deadly weapons and he was coming towards them. This is where training is very important. Being able to have more trigger time on the gun, being more proficient with it. Unfortunately, so many agencies out there just don't have the money to be able to do that. Training is expensive. The bullets are expensive. The overtime, having people on the range and stuff is expensive. The overtime for the person presenting the course is expensive. And agencies just don't have big budgets for a lot of training like that. And of course, this is also where I say that rifles are better than pistols, because they are more accurate. But like I said, nothing wrong with this officer for firing, even though this officer was down here, because he had no choice. He had to do something. This officer here, as I said earlier, he could have as he was seeing this unfold, be able to recognize, hey, this guy, they've deployed taser on this guy. He's not moving any. He's not falling down. He could leap out. If he leaps out, of course, this guy's going to have to traverse. I could be downrange of this person's gun, and either hug a wall or go into one of these openings right here instead of being right down there in the open area.
Drop the scissors. Drop the. What's up?
Now, I've seen some people comment about what this last shot was about.
What's up? Drop the scissors. Drop the scissors.
So the guy still has the scissors in his hands. It sounds like when he says drop the scissors.
Drop the scissors. Drop the scissors.
All right, hey Mike, hold on.
All right, I'm on him. He dropped the scissors.
Here,
Drop the scissors. Drop the scissors. Drop the scissors. Drop.
Some people were commenting, oh, this officer, he came up there and he just executed the guy with the final shot. That was an execution shot. I don't really think that's what was going on in that officer's mind. I do not believe this officer was thinking of the mindset, I'm going to execute this guy now. Now that I've shot him, he's gone down, I'm going to go one step forward and just completely kill him. I do not think that's what the officer was thinking. I think it's possible that as he approached, after firing, he saw the scissors still in his hands and saw the guy moving and had a perception that the guy could start to get up again. Or it's possible that after he fired that string of rounds, his finger was still on the trigger, and as he was approaching, he fired one round inadvertently, basically indeed negligently discharged, because he had his finger resting on the trigger and had not made that conscious decision to want to shoot yet. So one of those two things I think was going on. The whole execution allegation I think is bullshit. I don't think that's the case at all.
What's up? Drop the scissors. Drop the scissors.
All right, hey Mike, hold on.
All right, I'm on him. He dropped the scissors.
here is the perspective from the second officer in the alley.
Hey, tiene las tijeras. Deja las tijeras. Ponla. Tiene las tijeras.
All right, so what I talked about earlier, his hand placement. So he does have his hand on the gun, but it just looks like he's resting his hand on the gun. I think it would have been more appropriate if he would have already had that gun either out of the holster or partially out of the holster. If he had it out of the holster, I could see him holding it down to his side or behind his leg right there. I think that would have been appropriate, or even having it right there in front of him in the low ready, I think would have been appropriate as well. We see this guy's got the scissors. Just having your hand resting on the gun at this point, I don't think is the right thing to be doing. I think that gun either needs to be partially out of the holster or just completely out of it altogether.
Deja las tijeras. Ponla.
Down right now. Scissors down. If you step one forward,
Hey,
I will shoot you.
Tira las.
Just one more.
Tira
Put
las
the
tijeras.
scissors down. Put them down. Put the scissors down. Don't move. Don't move. Put the scissors down. Put the scissors down. Hey. One move forward. One step. One step. You will get shot. One step. One step.
Here is the view from the body-worn camera of the...
All right, so
Scissors down. Don't move.
don't even pay attention to him at this point. Pay attention to him. So notice he is indexing. He indexed pretty much the whole time. So this idea that he's wanting to execute the guy is obviously, I think, bullshit based off the fact that he is indexing this entire time. He could be having his finger on the trigger if he wanted to, but he doesn't. He is making this conscious decision to keep his finger indexed along the frame of the gun, and he does that.
Don't move. Put the scissors down
until he starts to turn.
Put the scissors down. Hey.
Still indexing.
One move forward. One step. One step. You will get shot.
And then it's when he starts fighting the wires and looks like he's going to start to charge. That's when he makes that decision to move his finger to the trigger.
One step. One step.
Here is the view from the body-worn camera of the third officer in the alley.
Taser.
So he had waited as long as he could before he put his finger on that trigger.
Taser.
One forward.
Hey,
I will shoot
Taser. Put it down.
Just one more.
Put it down.
Put him down. Put the scissors down. Don't move. Don't move. Put the scissors down. Put the scissors down. Hey. One move forward. One step.
Hey, let's back it up. I'm going to stack up.
One step. One step.
Officers provided medical aid to the man and requested the Phoenix.
I'm going to stack up.
One step. One step.
Stack up.
One move. Put the...
Taser.
Here is the view from the body-worn camera of the third officer in the alley.
Taser.
One forward. Hey, I will shoot.
Taser. Put it down.
So I like how he comes in. He understands that the verbal commands have not worked at this point. He is properly trying to de-escalate the situation, and he's doing this by using force. I do believe that everyone's idea and stance on verbal judo and verbally de-escalating things is out of touch with reality. Some people think that you can just talk people out of things and de-escalate. And I think it needs to be contained to verbals only. That's not realistic. That does not fucking happen. And I fully believe that the longer you talk and the longer you delay using physical force, it can actually escalate the situation. Like these suicide by police kind of calls, where the person's there and they got like the knife in the hand or something like that, and they're not listening to the verbal commands, they're not doing what they want, and as time progresses, you can start to see a change in their body language and how they're acting, and then they become more empowered the longer this thing has gone on in duration, and they have worked it out in their head. They have played that mental image in their head of them doing the thing to reach their goal. They have come to their final terms with it. They've weighed the options, so to speak, in their head. They've thought about, if I do this and this, maybe, I don't have to do this. Maybe things will get better. They've exhausted all that in their head, and they finally come to the point where they feel comfortable enough in doing what they want to do. And then, boom, it turns into a shooting. And those a lot of those things, I think, could have been avoided by using other forms of force to de-escalate the situation. Sometimes punching a motherfucker in the face will de-escalate the situation. So this officer comes in as they're talking to him, and he just says, taser, taser, taser. Like, he ain't fucking around. He ain't playing, let's sit here for an hour and talk to this guy bullshit. And then this guy get to the point where he feels confident and comfortable in doing what he wants to do, and he gets to initiate action. This officer's coming up and saying, we're going to end this shit right fucking here. I'm going to deploy taser, and we're going to initiate action. This guy's going to have to respond to us now versus us having to respond to him. And action generally beats reaction.
Just one more.
Put it down.
Put him down. Put the scissors down. Don't move. Don't move. Put the scissors down. Put the scissors down. Hey. One move forward. One step.
Hey, let's back it up. I'm gonna stack up.
One step. One step.
Officers provided medical aid to the man and requested the Phoenix Fire Department to respond. The man was taken to the hospital where he later died from his injuries. The pair of scissors that the man had during the incident were found on scene. The officer involved in this incident is assigned to the South Mountain Precinct and has approximately 15 years of service with the department. This incident is the subject of a criminal investigation, which will be reviewed by the Maricopa County Attorney's Office. It is also the subject of an administrative investigation. Conclusions about whether the actions of the officers are officers provided hospital where he later died from his injuries. The pair of scissors that the man had.
Scissors are deadly weapons. There's a reason why your parents and your teachers have told you to never run with scissors. Why? Because if you fucking fall down on them and they go into your body, it can fucking kill you. Right? And some people, they're like, oh, it's just a pair of scissors. It's just a pair of scissors. I don't. Unless it's like the little elementary school, like, dull ass fucking scissors, like, this thing is a deadly weapon. It will straight up murder somebody. Well, not it, but someone else holding it and stabbing somebody with it. It is fully capable of inflicting serious bodily harm and deadly harm to people. So no problem whatsoever with this officer using deadly physical force against the guy with the scissors. Not much else to say about this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.